Folks, 6 days and counting. I'm going to use this brief show to explain to you a little bit of how important some of these campaign issues are and how they can drastically affect the way we live. Of course, you know, I'm up here in northern New York. We had a foot of snow yesterday, if you can believe that. A foot of snow. Of course, that was all caused by global warming. But during a local debate last night, one of the moderators wanted to know what the candidates thought of something called equal pay for equal work. It's a bill down there in Albany. One candidate supported it, and the other candidate urged caution. I sat there in the audience and I said to myself, I wonder how many people here actually know what they're referring to when they say equal pay for equal work. It's a big feminist issue. They only make 87 cents on the dollar, you know, compared to what men make. Does anybody really know what she was referring to? And I used my opportunity there to get up and say how beautiful the English language is. The big difference between equal pay for equal work and equal pay for doing the same work. So what this woman moderator was actually asking was whether or not the government should determine the wages of the jobs that women do. It's what the old comparable worth game is all about. And women have now changed it. They don't call it comparable worth anymore. They call it equal pay for equal work. And if such a law were ever enacted in New York, it would destroy small business, drive everyone out of the state, because your wage rates would then be determined by bureaucracy in Albany. The FedEx driver here is a woman. She makes a lot more money than the bus driver driving for the city school system. Are these people in Albany going to come along and say, well, the school system driver now has to make as much money as the FedEx girl? Or that a bus driver's job has more value than a secretary's, or a secretary's has more value than a guy working on construction because she has to know more? That would open up a can of worms that would demolish small business in New York. Nobody in that room had any idea what this equal pay for equal work would actually do to the state of New York. Right now, women get the same pay for doing the same work as men in almost all cases. That FedEx driver, she makes the same amount of money as a guy FedEx driver. Second thing, today's paper, one of the little letters to the editor said, oh, this particular candidate, she understands the needs of people. And she's going to help push for a big increase in the minimum wage, up to $15 an hour, so everybody in New York State can make $45,000 and $50,000 a year. No concept at all of what that truly means. This is something that's being really pushed by the unions. If the minimum wage in New York was $15 an hour, all the other people would have to get a $7 an hour raise, because we can't have good old union workers making the minimum wage. So conceive that, of what would happen in New York State if all of a sudden the state of New York were to dictate a living wage of $15 an hour. There wouldn't be any small businesses left in New York, because somebody has to pay that wage. A shocking acknowledgement. Somebody else has to earn that $15 an hour, plus payroll taxes, pushing the cost per labor unit well over $20 an hour. And where are they going to get the money? They'd have to raise prices. Double, triple, everything. Small business would just abandon the state. Regular businesses would abandon the state. They couldn't afford to do business here. Suddenly having to give their employees a $7 an hour raise. A lot of people, they'd make $50,000 a year, but there wouldn't be any jobs for them at all. No concept on the part of this person writing the letter of what such a thing would actually do. There's a reason some people only make a little bit of money, and that's because they aren't very smart, they don't have any skills, they have no education, they made the wrong life choices. Not my problem. Those are just two examples of how the American people, or people here in New York, have no concept at all of the economic world around them. Unfortunately, a lot of these kind of folks are in Congress as well. And they could be out there passing national laws enforcing comparable worth and huge, massive increases in the minimum wage. And then they're going to wonder why American industry is moving overseas, why inflation goes up,